Good morning, my friends, and welcome to the 10-Minute Book Talk, where three best-selling authors talk all things bookish with you for 10 short and sweet minutes. Today, we have a super fun special treat that we don't get to have a lot once a year. Both Katherine and Marie have books coming out this spring. Katherine's comes out June 13th. Is that right? And Marie's comes out May 30th. So they're coming up in the spring, and they're going to do cover reveals for us. So, but I see Katherine's cover is
mine is revealed. Yes.
Katherine's already revealed.
But I can tell you about it.
We're going to do a little different format. We are just going to wing it and have a little fun impromptu conversation about these two delightful books that you guys can look forward to in the spring. So Katherine, bring us your huge, big, show us your great big cover.
Okay, so there's my great big cover back there. And I'll tell you, this is why I sort of reveal them. I get so nervous when the cover gets finalized because it ends up on the Onyx feed out into pre-sales, and then I never get to reveal the cover. So I made this big poster the minute it was finalized and started chirping about it. So
okay, but wait. Hold the. Okay, this is going to be just interrupting for the next chat. Yeah, hold on, because I feel like you can't really see how cool this cover is.
A shadow in Moscow. Okay, tell us about this.
It's sort of like 50s woman, but you're seeing her shadow most of it because she is the shadow.
She is the shadow. Oh, so because of the spy.
Yeah, it's about two spies. Two spies, and one has the reputation of being a shadow. So that's where the name alludes to only one of the two women, but
and there's a relationship. This is Cold War. This is not World War II.
No.
Cold War era.
Cold War era.
I got to read this book. I got to read. So I'm going to brag on you a little bit. I 100%, 10,000%. If we're not friends, I still would have adored this book. It was like a super page turner for me. You kept me guessing all the time. And it's like a different direction for you. I was just so impressed that you handled the kind of whole spy thing. Not one spy, but two. This is like a BOGO, right? It's buy one
spy, get one free.
Right. And I love this book so much that when I finished it, I handed it to my husband, who doesn't read a ton of fiction, quite honestly. And I was like, I think you're really going to like this. And he has it right now in his, we're going away on vacation. He packed it. So this is what he's going to read. And I know he's going to love it. I just thought it was terrific.
It's going to be Brad approved. And also I'm just going to interrupt and gush before you can even talk about your book. We should ask you to tell us about your book, though. I love strong women. I love the strong women making sacrifices, the relationships that women have with one another, the unsung heroes of history. And so I feel like you brought these things out in a way that was really taut and compelling and sacrificial and beautiful. And so I just think about the character still in the sacrifice.
And surprising. Plenty of plot twists, plenty of moments where you go, no way. Yeah. So, that a lot of that was going on. And I love that, they were two very different. Like one of the spies is like on top of her game. The shadow is controlled. The other spy is kind of a bad spy.
She's a bit of a mess.
She's a bit of a train wreck as a spy. I mean, and she's trying her best, but it's not, so I thought that was kind of like the furthest thing from the spy trope, right? I mean, the second spy, she's no James Bond. That's all I'm saying.
But you know what? I had so much fun researching real spies. And that was part of it too. They were clearly not average men and women, because it's quite extraordinary to do what they did, but they were compelled to do something so out of their norm that they had no idea what they were doing. And the tensions of it and the fear of it and the fact that at any minute, if the KGB caught you, you would be killed. And so would your family.
In a horrific way.
In a horrific way. So it was, the research was incredible. And you're right, the relationships in the pressures, there was so much that goes on in a spy story that makes it really a lot of fun, even though you are talking about serious.
And I thought you really had the texture. I mean, I was like, how much time has Katherine spent in Russia? Because you really delve into like Russian culture and the Russian personality and approach to life, as well as all the other just technical stuff about like, what's it like to live in Russia during that time. And I found that really, really revealing and really educational, but it really made me think like, is Katherine a secret Russian spy? And
she can't tell us.
Hiding in plain sight.
Well, Katherine, if you remember though, Marie, Katherine spent all of COVID reading Russian spy novels. Do you remember that? Like she'd only read spy novels all through COVID.
But you've actually been there, right, Katherine?
Yes. I was in Moscow and Leningrad because it was Leningrad back then, in 1985, which is the year the book ends. And so it was another really part of researching is I had to look at old maps and older things because a lot of city names, street names, park names changed post 1991. So I had to have all of those original USSR names. So
yeah, that happened in Budapest too. They changed everything. So now everything looks different. Can you give us a 1-minute summary and then we'll move on to Marie. Can you give us a 1-minute summary of your book? Because we jumped
into that. 1-minute summary is, that's good. That's 1 minute of silence. MI6's legendary spy who's working out of Moscow sort of runs into conflict with the CIA's newest recruit in Moscow. And when Aldrich Ames in 1985 gives a list, and Aldrich Ames, true story, was the head of the Eastern European desk and the Soviet Union desk for the CIA at the time, he gave a list of names to the KGB in June of 1985, signing the death warrants of dozens of agents behind the Iron Curtain. So when this list gets out, both MI6 and the CIA are rushing to get their assets out of Moscow. So these two women spies who have been circling each other in Moscow for some time now sort of have to come to an agreement to get out alive. So that is sort of the race and the story behind these two women and the sacrifices they make while working in Moscow for their agencies. So
chills.
That's not a good summary. I got to work on that summary.
You got to work on your elevator pitch, but I still got chills because
great book.
It's an amazing story and people are going to really enjoy it on June 13th. The Shadow in Moscow. All right.
And they can pre-order it right now. You know what?
So true.
We'll all just wait here quietly for a moment while you go do that. Like
pre-order.
Authors love pre-orders, by the way, if you didn't know. And also you can now pre-order Esme Cahill Fails Spectacularly.
All right.
So let's talk about that.
30th. While you wait for Shadow in Moscow to be delivered to your door after you pre-order it, you can enjoy Esme Cahill Fails Spectacularly by our very Marie Bostwick.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. How fun is that cover?
I love the
cover. It's super fun. Yeah. And are those pages floating in the water?
There are pages floating in the water because, so originally, I'll tell you a little bit about this cover. So originally they sent me the cover and it was a different color and there were some elements I didn't care for, but she was just in the boat with the book on her chest, like looking like she was sleeping. And I said, gang, pretty image, but that is not a woman failing spectacularly. That is a woman who is living her best life.
Best life.
In a rowboat on a pond.
So you will note that next to her, there is like a red pencil with a lot of things and a lot of paper falling into. So we get the hint that Esme, is at least a wannabe writer that is really not doing very well with it. I feel like, people failing is an ongoing theme for me. I don't know what it is, but that seems to, people not living their best life, but trying to find a good life is kind of it's what I do.
And who doesn't want to read that? Tell us about Esme. Give us the 1 minute elevator pitch.
I don't know how to, I've never mastered the 1 minute. So
you can do it better than I just did.
No, trust me on this. So I've never been good at this. So Esme Cahill is a woman who is an editor in New York City for a major publishing house. And she's doing that because she really wanted to be a writer. And after I think it was 268 rejections, she realized that probably wasn't going to happen. So she took a job in editing and turned out to be a really good editor. But as the book opens, there've been, of course, because I love to make my poor character. I love to come in at the moment of really when my characters are just kind of flat on the bottom because there's nowhere to go but up from there. So I think that's sometimes a good place to be. Anyway, her life is a mess and she's gotten fired from her job and she's like trying to figure it out. Not long before that happened, her grandmother, Adele, wanted her to come back to the Lakeside Lodge where she was raised near Ashville, North Carolina. And Esme would have done it, but there wasn't time. Her grandmother died. And so Esme ends up later going back home. And when she is there, she suddenly starts to have kind of weird visions that she realizes is of her grandmother. Now, this is a different story for me because it's actually a story within a story. So I tell Adele's story written during World War II. And what we find out is that, which Esme didn't really realize, is that Adele was an incredibly gifted artist, but like so many artists, she was struggling. She was not recognized. She was in fact failing spectacularly in her eyes. So one of the wonderful things I love about this book is that in finding her own way forward, Esme is actually going to be able to get her grandmother the artistic credit that she deserved all along. So
love it.
Two stories. There is a story, I actually did it in, when did I do the time? Wow, I've moved on to, so the book is like two things. It actually opens in 1942, but then it's mostly in 2009. So that's the book. And it's, this was a long time coming for me. And it wasn't really until I found Adele's story that the book came together. I rewrote this book more than any book I have ever rewritten, as you guys know, because you suffered with me.
Well, we are excited. We are excited.
We're really excited.
We know that readers are going to enjoy Esme and they're going to enjoy A Shadow in Moscow. Can you hold up your book covers again?
Yeah.
So that we can make sure that everybody go order these and pre-order those. They will be out May 30th, May 30th, May 31st, May 30th, and June 13th. And so you'll have all of your summer reading lined up already.
And honestly, if you would pre-order them, we would just like,
we would
love it so much. I mean, like, I don't know, I would like say a novena for you or something.
So there you go.
But I'd be willing.
Marie will do something wonderful for you, and
wonderful.
Have our artistic gratitude. All right, ladies. Well, thank you everyone for watching, and you will see us next week at the 10-minute book talk.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.